Welcome to the Talk of Simsbury. My name is Dominique Avery. Today, the Talk of Simsbury is about Simsbury Celebrates, an amazing event in downtown Simsbury. It starts every year. It starts the holiday season. It's the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and this year they're celebrating their 14th year. Like so many things in Simsbury, it was begun by volunteers, and it's still largely volunteers who really keep it going for the enjoyment of all town residents, all for free. My guests today include Linda Johnson, who's the founder of Simsbury Celebrates, and Janet Calabro, the fundraising chair for the last 10 years. Welcome to both of you. Thank you so much for joining me, Linda. I'm going to address you, the first question to you. How did Simsbury Celebrates get started?
Well, actually, it started 15 years ago.
Oh.
And
thank you for correcting me.
After opening night, which had run for 10 years, after they decided that this group of gals on the Arts Council, that they were not going to do it again, I happened to be chairman of the Culture Parks and Rec Commission, and they came to us and said they just weren't going to do it again. It was a tremendous amount of work. And there were no volunteers to step up and carry it on, and I truly went home and thought about it for a couple of weeks and approached Jerry Toner and said, I think I'd like to give it a shot. The initial thing that I did was talk to other volunteers, be volunteers like the Women's Club, other civic organizations in town. We involved some shopkeepers, Chamber of Commerce, and we started meeting. It was the library, and about 20 of us. And we met having no name, no purpose except to provide some kind of entertainment for the town of Simsbury that same weekend as opening night, if we could pull it off.
The Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Exactly. Right. And what we came up with, the first and most, I think the most important change we made was that the event be free.
I had a button from the old one.
Right.
I wanted to bring it in with me, and I left it in the car.
And we decided as a group that no matter what we did, if we could do it, we wanted it to be free so everyone could attend.
So just compared to the opening night event that was happening before, that was more arts-oriented? And
It actually was. And at that point in time in Simsbury, there weren't that many cultural events, unlike what we have today. So these gals would go into New York City and really search out performers. And what we tried to do is twist it to the community and look for more activities that were community created. And we started to evolve, and we started meeting in the summer, and that first Thanksgiving Saturday, we had about 3,000 people. And that's how we started, and we just have evolved. And basically we've evolved into 3 parts. The first part of the afternoon is venues, and that would be indoor and outside. And I don't know, Janet, 40 plus?
It's somewhere between 40 and 50.
Things going on.
Things.
Places and things.
It's not just places, it's things, it's events,
Right.
it's shows.
Yeah.
And it's also carriage rides and the roaming railroad and
Pony rides.
Yeah, and trampolines.
Before we get into that, though, I'm fascinated by this idea that this one group who tried to make it very artsy and fairly expensive said they couldn't do it anymore, and how you had the chutzpah, the idea that you could do it and you could raise the money to do it for free.
Well,
it was smaller then.
It was much smaller. Their last year they drew 10,000 people, And that was because everybody knew that it was the final show, but it was smaller. We had no idea where we were going. And Janet's been involved 10 years. Carol Brown now has been involved 14. And we have a core group of volunteers who make it work. And we change. It changes with the volunteers. It changes with the needs of the town. It changes with requests that we hear through our friends, through people who've attended.
I think one other big change was when it first started, Linda said they started in the summer and they put it on in November. Shortly after I came on, or probably shortly before, we really decided it's a full year of planning. This starts, we take December off because we're tired. And then we start up in January again and go full tilt. Between, I won't even count Taryn because she's town affiliated, but between Linda and Carol Brown and myself, I would tell you the volunteer hours for the three is probably over 500 hours a year.
Well, it's a huge undertaking, and it's one of the reasons I wanted to do this show, because I don't think all the families who come to this have any idea. And what I said in the beginning is absolutely true. Simsbury is a town where volunteers do so much, but the volunteers don't get enough recognition. So anyway, my hat's off. As a volunteer myself, my hat's off to you.
I appreciate that.
It's an amazing event, an absolutely amazing event. And it's so big that I don't think we can get everything in this little time that we have to talk about. But so we talked about funding. So they sold these buttons,
Yes.
Right.
And you don't do that anymore. Now
No.
it's free. So you're chair of fundraising. How do you do
fundraising. So it was very simple. I started coming when I've lived here 20-something years, and started coming and actually was involved in opening night at a very small scale. And came year after year, and as my youngest child finally got a little older, I said to my husband, you know, I really should do something with this. This looks like a lot of fun. So I went to the first meeting, and by the second meeting, I was fundraising chair. But I will say this, the committee, even though we have chairs of different various events and fundraising things, nobody does anything alone. Everybody has input on everything. So from day one, it was, you're going to be the chair, but we're going to literally walk you through it, and they did. It's been great, great fun. It's a wonderful chance to meet people. I've met so many people. Fundraising is not wonderful. It's not fun. I try to make it fun. I think the big misconception is everyone believes that the town finances this event.
Right.
And they do not. They do, I shouldn't say that. They do finance certain things. They help us out with the cost of police, well, not even the trash, but a lot of the Parks and Rec Department hang up signs for us, and they have people on site that night to help out with making sure the generators are positioned properly and the streets are closed, et cetera, et cetera. But the majority of the funding comes from just donations. We have, I believe last year it was 42 or 44 businesses contributed the majority of the money. And when I say majority of the money, it costs us $24,000 to put this on every year. We have tremendous bills as far as lighting. We do pay a portion of the police, trash pickup.
A large portion.
The generators and the lighting is outrageous. I shouldn't say that. He gives us a wonderful discount, but it's very expensive. The fireworks are very expensive. This year we have the return of the Extreme Trampoline Show, which everyone loves. They are Olympic gymnasts who do these shows as practice for the Olympics. However, they are extremely expensive. So we can have 3 or 4, I won't call them venues because some of it is lighting, et cetera, that can cost us $15,000. So it's very expensive. We do have some people from town, just residents who donate. But we have tried very hard to put the word out there that this is for the town and it is free, but we do need donations or it does not go on.
So I think that I have a letter from you asking for a donation.
Probably.
that
You
I
probably have
to
more
do.
than one.
I have sent in every year, but this year I don't think I did it. So I'm sure that there are other people like me. So
Right.
at this point, people could still make a
Absolutely.
contribution. And-
Absolutely.
Right.
It's never too little, it's never too late.
And they can find your address and where to send it
It
to on
is
the website.
P.O. Box 495, Simsbury, Connecticut, but it's absolutely on SimsburyCelebrates.com. All of the information is there.
And also what we do is we try to seed the event
Right.
for the following year.
We do not take any payment. Therefore, anything that happens to be left over goes right into the next year.
Right.
So are you guys, is this a full-time job for you?
It could be.
Janet has.
I
Oh,
have a
you have a
full-time
full-time
job.
job.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I work for the Hartford. I work 45 hours a week.
Wow.
So it's a labor of love. We all have decided that. It's
Right.
passion for all
It
of
really
us.
is.
We have
It
some
is.
volunteers who simply come to our nighttime meetings and will give input, et cetera. We have some volunteers who only come the night of the event and help us out with the myriad of people that we need for that. The core group who make most of the decisions and the ideas is probably 10 to 12 people. We're always
Or
welcome
fewer.
to more. We would love to have new people come join us. We have several gentlemen who joined over the last few years and have been a
Which is
wonderful
great.
addition. Doing carpentry and things like that unfortunately we just don't have the skill. So we're always open to new volunteers, whether they want to volunteer for one night or for the whole year.
And we do change. I mean, it isn't the same. No 2 years are ever the same. And the way that we do that is we listen, well, we get feedback, which Janet talked about, but also we listen to our committee. And then the night of, which I think is probably, it's the biggest endorphin kick in my life. You walk around and you see all these smiling faces and you say, wow, I was part of this. And you listen to what people are saying. We know, for instance, that the yo-yo people are a huge draw. They're going to be upstairs in Eno this year. And we know that because we hear, we listen. But it is, for us, I think Janet started and said, you know, Carol Brown, and she's the jack of all trades.
She is.
She's
Carol does it
everywhere.
all.
And the three of us walk down Hot Meadow Street and with the fire truck parade, and we just started doing that a couple of
that's
years
only been a
ago.
couple years.
Taking a look at,
And it's an eye opener. I mean, people are shouting and smiling and
Yeah.
saying thank you.
It's an amazing event,
It
but
is unbelievable.
I have to say that I have been, because SCTV does something,
Right.
which I'm going to talk a little bit about because we
We
want
want
to
you to.
encourage people to be here, but I'm always here. And I'm not outside. And I have completely lost track how much it's changed and how much it's grown. I mean, it's just amazing, all the things that are going on. So maybe let's talk a little bit about that, because I do think sometimes people are overwhelmed by how much choice there is.
So many people are overwhelmed, and I believe it was 2 years ago, we changed the program. We used to list the program by venue, so we would have Eno Hall, and we would have the 20 things going on at different
and
times
a
in Eno.
description.
We decided that was a little bit difficult for people to understand, because one thing we have tried very hard to communicate is, while we may have 40 or 50 acts or things happening, you can't really go to more than 4. I mean, it's unfortunate. It's that little, because you're going to have to walk from one venue to another. Many of the shows are 40 or 45 minutes. The event is only 5 hours long.
Right.
So we tell people constantly, download or get a hold of the program and plot where you're going to go. I'm probably one of the only people on earth who hasn't seen the yo-yo show yet, because I'm always out on the street.
Right.
This year, maybe. But you can't do everything. So while we may have, let's say we had the yo-yo people 10 years in a row, that doesn't mean people are going to see that 10 times. They may. But most likely they've seen it once, maybe twice, because there are so many things to go see. And most of them really are spectacular. Many of them are local entertainers kind of thing, choirs and choruses and all kinds of things. It's really fun to see them. It's fun to go out and see the baton twirlers, the little kids who change every single year. So you can only see 4 or 5 things. And some of my friends who don't have little children anymore, choose to just hang out in the street and see all the street venue things. And we've tried very hard over the last 5 years to add to that. And I think this year we probably have more than we've ever had.
We have more.
You still have the Messiah sing?
Yes,
We
we
do
do.
have the Messiah sing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's something that a lot of sort of adults without children
Right.
love to
That
go
is correct.
to. Right?
Right.
And along with that, the Methodist Church does. They have entertainment,
Right.
and they serve soup.
They have
And
a little
warming
They have
cafe.
the
The
warming
warming hut.
And the warming hut is a throwback on the first year, because we had like 3 or 4 warming huts, and they were a warming hut. So they've been with us for the entire time.
So it's nice.
So is SCTV, and there are a couple of other events that have.
Right.
And
Okay, so as long as you
Messiah.
mentioned SCTV, I just want people to know
Okay, please.
that they can come and prepare a little holiday greeting. We have a green screen, so they have a lovely sort of winter scene behind them, and then they have a greeting that could be put on the air. The grandparents can look at it on the internet, or you can send them a CD. In any case, we're down here, and a lot of people sometimes don't find us.
Well, I know a lot of families like to come and do that, but to be honest with you, one reason I joined the committee was that I had a teenager, and I didn't feel there was enough activities for the teens. They do have the ski sundown, the rail jam, which all the kids just love, and it's the same thing over and over, and they just adore it. They can't get enough. But I think that's a really cool thing for the kids to come down to SCTV.
the teenagers actually
Them
do
and their
like
friends
it. Yeah.
get together, family, friends, best friends, whatever, girls, boys, and do their little spiel. I think that's hysterical that they can see themselves on TV, and I think it's great, and I would hope more of them do that.
Good. Well, maybe we gave ourselves a little publicity.
Well-
We were very disappointed when you took Santa's Mrs. Claus away, because we always got families
The
there.
reason that we did was really safety. There were so many strollers and carriages going down those marble stairs. It was frightening.
You're absolutely right, and I stand there and direct people downstairs to encourage more people to come, as one of the things that I do as a volunteer. And I think it's not safe for people to bring strollers. I wish people would put their
I
children
believe
in
the
their
new
backpacks.
ruling is that all strollers have to be left outside. So
Right.
I would
We've
encourage
tried.
parents and those with young children to either carry them or get the backpack holders, which are much easier. It is a very large crowd. We've
Right.
had up to 15,000 people at
Wow.
the event.
Wow.
So it is much easier, and they should understand, which I do believe we put on the website as well,
Yeah.
that strollers are not allowed in most of the venues. When you get down to the First Church or the Congregational Church, it's huge. There's no way you could walk through that, and there's a lot of stairs with a stroller. So alternative methods are always good. I always put my son on my shoulders, and we just hoofed it around that way. But that being said, we will have a draw for you this year, and I'm going to go spoil it. Can I
Oh,
say
yeah,
it?
please do. Please do.
Outside of SCTV this year, in the downstairs of, we will have several things, but the main new fun thing we're going to have is the
It's a Simsbury Radio
the
Club.
radio club, which are the flyers. We've seen them at
On
the
Nod
airport.
Road.
We've seen them at the fly-in. And they are coming with a few of their planes. They obviously will not be flying them, but you can see them. And they are bringing some small drones.
Aha.
Which
will
they
be
will
a great
fly.
draw for young, old alike.
Oh.
I can imagine most of the dads flying down here to see them, because I think everyone's just fascinated with them.
That'll be great. So what else is happening besides the drones and SCTV?
The Yo-Yo people,
Yo-Yo people will be here.
and
I don't know what else is happening by venue.
I don't
Okay,
either.
so how many venues are there?
There 40, we were talking about it last night, 40 plus, and those venues are really in a short period of time. They're really between either 4 and 4:30 and say 7:15. And then we shift, as I had started to talk about, to really phase 2, and that's the fire truck
Right.
parade. And then following the fire truck parade, people are walking down.
So after
to
phase
the
1,
fireworks.
the fire truck parade is the only event going on at that time.
Right.
That is the
All
focus
the
of
venues
everything, and
stop.
everyone, of course, wants to be there. Followed by the fireworks, which again, there's nothing else going on when the fireworks go on.
Now, I have never been to the fireworks,
Oh, they're
but
awesome.
They are
do a lot
amazing.
of people move
Yes.
all
Oh,
the
yes.
way down
Yes,
there? Really?
they do. The field is actually closed, so you have to stand along the fence or in the walled area of the meadows.
Right.
There's plenty of room there, and it is the best fireworks you will find in the valley and beyond.
It is.
We're not in competition with a lot of things at this time of year, so it's a great show. It's usually 20 minutes or so, possibly longer, and it's a great fireworks show. No one leaves there disappointed.
And what the fireworks company that we use, they start planning it because early. I'm sure they've planned it out already.
Do they do it
now.
to music?
This year, we think there will be a change in the music. We've had some problems with music the last couple of years, so we understand there's something underway, but I can't give you a definitive answer right now.
Right.
So your advice to people is that they go to your website. Is that where the
Absolutely.
schedule is?
Up till this year, and I can't imagine we're going to change it. I know it's on the website, and you can simply download it. As again, it's listed by time now, so you can look at the time and figure out where you want to be and map your route, so to speak. It's also usually put through the schools and the school flyer if you have young children. We put it through that way. We will have it in
Fitzgerald's,
and
Bank
a
of
few
America,
other
Simsbury Bank,
local.
The library.
Library will absolutely have some.
Maybe the Chamber of Commerce.
And in the past,
We
it's been
can
in the
because it's
Simsbury
become a
Life.
visitor center.
Yeah.
And I would assume we're going to get that again this year, although Carol's our publicity chair, and I don't know that for sure, but I would
So
imagine
that's
so.
the biggest, I think that's probably
It
the
is
biggest
so
piece of advice.
helpful.
Plan your
Right.
evening ahead
and
of time.
the other is dress warmly.
Right.
It gets cold.
We've been very, very fortunate with the weather.
We don't really talk
And if
about
you continue
weather.
to walk up and down the street, that's the way to do it. If you stand still, you're going to get cold. If you keep moving, not so bad, but it usually is cold. Wearing Uggs or something comfortable, a down jacket, hats, gloves, whatever, is definitely the way to go, especially when you're waiting for the fire truck parade.
Okay, so something else that I noticed that's different from the beginning, and that is there's a lot more food available.
Oh,
There is.
Okay.
We have, we started several years ago with outdoor food vendors because we realized that while the restaurants do a wonderful business that night and we're thrilled for them, there aren't that many. You have to remember that the event is actually from the congregation, First Church.
Yeah, from the First Church up
to
the Historical Society.
to the Historical Society just past Maple Tree. And that road is closed. So there aren't that many venues there for the amount of people we have. So we started putting what we call food vendors out on the street where it's kind of food to go. We've had different numbers. This year we have eight,
There are
I
eight.
believe. And we will have everything from pizza to, we don't have all the menu yet. There'll be
Chili.
hamburgers and hot dogs and coffee and water and things like
Burritos.
that. Well,
we have some
burritos
new,
this year.
very exciting additions, but there's something for adults.
But
and
because the
children.
other issue is if you go to a restaurant, sit down, you will miss probably two venues. And that's fine if that's what you want. I have a lot of friends who do that. They just gather together and come out and see the parade and the fireworks. But if you
Well,
have
that's an
children
idea.
and you
Yeah.
want to see more of the venues, you can just pick up this food to go, eat it out on the street, and off you go. So that will be right on the street, very easy to find, and reasonably priced.
And we also have down at the First Church, they do a huge job of using practically all their rooms. And
It's
on
amazing.
On the first floor, on the bottom level, they have Mrs. Claus Kitchen,
Right,
which
and that used to be here, and that's
Right.
really popular.
And-
people are still coming
Right.
to Eno looking for Mrs. Claus.
Right. And outside, I do believe they are doing hot dogs.
They did hot dogs, they've done pretzels, they've
Right.
done different things. They will have something hot to eat there
So
as well.
there's
They do a
something-
magnificent job.
Yeah, something between First Church and the Boy Scout Hall.
I remember one year going to a choir from Bloomfield. Do they
That's
still
correct.
have somebody inside the
Yes.
church?
Yes.
Yes, we'll have three
the praise
events.
choir, right?
Praise choir is in the middle, and then we have two other acts that are going on.
There's just, I mean, there is so much. I have never heard anybody say, limit yourself to 4. You're absolutely right, though. That is the way to attack it.
You just, I wish I could say you could see 10, but I'd be lying. You can't.
You can't.
You can't.
But you could see, the characters along the street.
Right.
You can ride.
The Roman Railroad.
yeah.
So is the railroad going to be
The
back?
railroad will
Absolutely.
be back. The trolley will be back. We
have
will
pony
have,
rides.
We have more characters out on the street this year than we have ever had. We have pony rides. We have the Acro Fitness doing several different acts. They're going to have yoga this year.
Right. And we have an extension, Gloria Rossetti, and a couple of other groups are going to be in the Boy Scout Hall. They prefer to be inside, so we've kind of split. They're just huge crowds of parents watching. So it covers that is two separate venues, but we're full.
And we have the Heart School coming back with the Nutcracker.
Do you
Yes,
have the
which
high
is
school
beautiful.
kids still come
Absolutely.
and do caroling?
Yes,
Yes,
they
they-
do. They actually carol around the street in different locations, and then they end up down at the tree in front of Fitzgerald's that Bill Seelig and Brian from Fitzgerald's have decided to light and decorate, and that's great fun, and they sing there while they light the tree. which
They
is
light the
always
tree.
great.
And when is, do you happen to know what time that
I
is?
believe
That's-
it's 6:30.
Yeah, they try to do it in conjunction with people moving outside, and they serve cookies. And
Yeah, sometimes they have cookies or cider or something like that. But it's
do you
great.
have any way of judging how many people come from out of town?
We always ask the fire department, and that's always my question.
Out of
'cause I use it
town?
from out of town,
Yeah.
no, we have no way of knowing. But we do have people who would tell us that they bring their families year after year.
Right. I talked to somebody today who said that her sister and her little girl come every single year, and they go online and they plan their thing. The only thing is that as the little girl grows, she's interested in different things.
Well, that's also fun,
We used
too.
to, probably it stopped right around the time I joined the committee. We always advertised in the Hartford Courant, and we literally made a conscious decision to stop.
We had to stop.
Because we can't have any more people. I mean, it's a great problem to have, is that we just feel that if we advertise, we could get more, but it wouldn't really be fair. You wouldn't be able to get into anything.
Right.
Then you're just going to be standing, and we've tried
Because there are lines.
You know, we have tried to prevent that. But there's something new that we're starting this year, and it is a Lego contest. In the past years, we have done a gingerbread contest and exhibition over at the Free Library. We have had diminished applicants, and also it's expensive, and it's very labor intensive.
It's very labor intensive.
So came up with the idea of a Lego competition and exhibit. And so we're trying to encourage anyone. It can be groups.
It can be seniors, it can be kids, it can be anyone.
To get online, go to our website, get an application, and join
So
in.
is there a deadline for submission?
It's in about
Probably the week before, unless
week
we fill
before.
out. We can handle 40 or 50
Oh,
entries.
at least.
Okay, so like through November 21st or so?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Lego, so that's something that
So we
people
came
should
up
know.
with a theme this
And
year.
the
Not that we
theme?
would turn away somebody who didn't do the theme, but the theme is Americana.
So
which
it's a
is-
pretty
It's pretty broad.
broad.
Somebody could do the White House.
They could do the White House, they could do a barn and a cow. I mean, it's all Americana.
And what we're doing with that is it's free, and we're asking for a contribution, but that's totally optional.
Okay, so I got the signal. We have about a minute left. So just tell me quickly, is there anything that I didn't ask you about that you really
We could go on for another half hour.
Well, you know, we're out of time. This
One
is
thing
just half an hour.
I want to do is thank the sponsors. That's my main job as fundraising chair. First, we'd like to thank SCTV. You have been with us from the start, always supportive, always so positive, and we would encourage everyone to come down during the event and make their little Christmas card online.
Thank you.
On TV. And again, thank you so much for all your support. Along
for
with
me,
you,
too.
the Simsbury Volunteer Fire Department, we could not do this without them. They handle that parade from soup to nuts, and they do a fabulous job. It is talked about. I have friends who I've just met from East Heartland and from somebody out past Torrington, and they all know about the fire truck parade. They do a fabulous job. Our main supporters are Ensign Bickford and LaBelle Esprit Spa. Both of those are presenting sponsors. They have both been with us for over 5 years, and we are ever grateful to them. Along with several of our top sponsors, who would be people like Aquarian Water Company, Bill Selig Jewelers, Fitzgerald's Market, Catherine Moore, and the Simsbury Bank have been great supporters in a large way over the last years, and we couldn't do this without them. Beyond that, there are many, many others. Everyone from people who join what we call this year it's the 2015 Club, where you give $20.15,
Right.
up to people who give
I
$1,000.
have to cut you off. I just got the signal.
Okay.
So sorry. Our time is up.
We're
We
sorry,
could have talked
too.
for an hour. Thanks to everyone here at SCTV behind the scenes for getting the show on the air. Thanks especially to my guests for coming in, and this has been so fascinating. And of course, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like SCTV and Simsbury Celebrates on Facebook. And you can always watch the show again on the website. And remember that Simsbury Celebrates always needs volunteers and always needs money. So think about
Thank
sending
you.
them something.
Thank you.
I'm
Saturday
Dominique
afternoon.
Avery. See you next time for the Talk of Simsbury.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.